Let's do my taxes. Okay, today's a video that I've wanted to make for a while, but also haven't really wanted to make because I really don't want to do my taxes. Hopefully you're here and this video will be helpful for you. I'm going to try to use TurboTax / Credit Karma, FreeTaxUSA, and the IRS Free File site. And we're going to be ranking every site out of 4 categories. So number 1, we have ease of site. So how easy is a site to use? How easy is to navigate? 2 is how visually appealing the site is. Does it look good? Am I having to use Internet Explorer or whatever? 3 is how much is it to file? And the 4th is how much the refund would be if I use that site. I'm shooting this video this year because this is one of the most complex tax years I had, and if I were to do this again and had more time, I might actually hire someone to just do my taxes in general. I'm 24 years old, so I haven't had to file my taxes kind of like without parental guidance for super long. Like, I'm not super well versed in taxes even though I work in finance. But this year basically I had 2 jobs in 2 different states. I at one point lived in New Jersey, worked in New York. Now I live in California and work in California. I had a major income bump. This is like the biggest income I've ever had because last year I had worked half the year and then the other half of the year I was in school, so I only had half a year's salary. I also had 2 bonuses because my previous company paid me out in February of 2020 and my current company pays out in December, so I got 2 bonuses in 1 year. I'm a single income family with no kids and no dependents. Though I did have a good number of donations, I don't really think that that's going to be prevalent or like really affect my taxes in this case. The first thing though I wanted to talk about is these sites in themselves because the way they operate is kind of problematic. TurboTax and H&R Block both lobby so that taxes like stay as complicated as they are. There are like countries which like send you how much you owe and that's kind of it. Like, that's the end of the day. There's certain income limits, and if you're above them, even if TurboTax advertises itself as free, they're not actually free. And that's kind of ridiculous because you get to the end of the program and you're like, oh my God, like I thought this was gonna be free, but I've already done all my information. I guess I'll just pay for it, which is kind of what they're going for. If you have the ability to not use those sites, I would strongly recommend using something else. And on the irs.gov site, if you make $72K or below, you can file for free using their software on their partner site. If you make more than $72,000, you can fill out the forms for free. They expect you to know how to do your taxes, so they give you basic like calculations with limited else. Okay, so the first thing about the free fillable forms is that it does look like just like an older site in general. You make an account. So basically, yeah, if I were to do this, I would have to fill out all the tax forms. I could technically e-file. I don't feel comfortable enough with my tax knowledge to like want to do that. For this site, if you have basic taxes, I think it's a really great option. Or if you make under $72,000 a year, I think just using the free fillable forms is a really, really great plan. But I'm bad at taxes and taxes aren't really taught in school in a way that's helpful for people. It makes sense why these other not free resources become so prevalent. Next, we're moving on to FreeTaxUSA, which says that federal taxes should be $0 and states should be $14.99. That's a much better deal than any of the other like paid sites. So I'm gonna make an account. When you start, it gives you like little pop-ups to show you what's going on, and then you can add deluxe and get customer service and live chat for $6.99, which is a really great price. The site's actually a lot better than I thought it would be for being free. Immediately I noticed that it doesn't fill out as much as TurboTax does. I feel like I'm having to type in more information. Like with TurboTax, you kind of just put in your first number and a lot of stuff just gets autofilled. It does like round the numbers for you, so like I know it's reading them, but I miss TurboTax in that sense. Like TurboTax is really just like, TurboTax is just very easy to use. I have to sneeze. Okay. Standard. Let's go. My God. Bless me. I have paid too much Social Security tax, according to FreeTaxUSA. I do have investment income that I think I have to include from 4 different accounts. One's a brokerage, so that one I know I have to report a lot of. And then 3 are retirement accounts, and so I'm not totally sure how that plays into my taxes, but yeah, I didn't cash out any gains. I did cash out losses. This is so stupid. I've never had to do taxes with all of these investment accounts. It just tells you it all on the top and you don't actually have to scroll through all the pages. Okay, cool. No deductions will change. Yeah, so the issue with my donations is that my standard deduction is more than my itemized deduction, so it won't actually matter at the end of the day, which is fine. But it just means that like putting stuff in doesn't really matter. Like as I scroll through this, I feel like it's just like asking me way more questions than things like TurboTax, which just made it a lot more straightforward to put all my information in and get it back out. Like this is asking me to like think a lot more about my taxes, which I guess you're supposed to do, but I don't want to do that. Like I just want to be able to pay my taxes and be done. So, I have to file all states differently, and since I worked in one state, lived in one state, and then worked and lived in another state, that's 3. So my total on this one will be $44.97. I'll get back 0 from New Jersey, 46 from the federal government, 147 from New York, and $1,112 from California. So I'll add that all up right here and show what that is worth. Okay, so we did FreeTaxUSA, which was pretty good. I feel like for this one, the cost was higher than I expected, but it's not terrible. The site is pretty easy to use. It just has a lot more asks of you than like TurboTax does. TurboTax, I think, does a lot of the like auto-filling really well that I really appreciate. Visually, I think it's fine. Like it's a very standard site. You just kind of click through it. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to TurboTax, which has a lot of my information because I filed on TurboTax last year. I don't like TurboTax because of the way that they lobby the government and the way that they charge for a service that should be free, but I really appreciate their visuals and how easy their site is to use. I really like that when you fill in certain numbers, a lot more auto-populates than other sites, so that is really, really nice. Let's get started. And I guess they like asking a lot of the same questions, but like it just feels like it's easier to use, and the way that it kind of navigates you through is just easier. Let's do it, California. See, it's like transferring all the information in, which is so much nicer. Like on FreeTaxUSA, I just spent more time like clicking through all of the things, and here it just kind of pulls it in for me, which is so much easier to use. Like for example here, like I put in how long I lived in California last year and it automatically told me how many days. And my other tax return was like, calculate how many days you lived in California. And it's like, well, you have all the information too. Like, you do it. See, New Jersey is just filling it out for me. That is so much easier. But I guess you get what you pay for theoretically, right? Okay, so for TurboTax, I'm getting $5 back federally, $0 back from New Jersey, $1,100 back from California, and $149 back from New York. TurboTax has an additional thing, like a plus version where you pay $30 more, but I'm skipping that for right now. Oh, just kidding. Okay, so because I paid excess Social Security tax, apparently, I need to upgrade to Deluxe. To file my taxes, I'll have to upgrade $60 to Deluxe, so already above FreeTaxUSA. Okay, so in total from TurboTax, I'm getting $1,254 back, but I'll be paying $210 to file. From FreeTaxUSA, I get $1,305 back, and I only pay like 40-something dollars. So in the cost, FreeTaxUSA obviously wins. They both lose to the federal filing program, but the complexity there doesn't make that worth it for me personally. In terms of ease of site use, TurboTax obviously beats out FreeTaxUSA and the IRS like free file forms. It's just way easier. It fills in way more information. It prompts way more things, and it like gives you little alerts when something is technically wrong. So I appreciate that. In terms of visuals, I really like TurboTax. I really like all of those programs. Like I like Mint, I like all of those. I like the little buttons. I'm like a sucker for like basic visual formatting. So TurboTax wins there, but at the end of the day, not by much. FreeTaxUSA is like perfectly great and really fine. And in terms of my refund amount, FreeTaxUSA actually gave me more than TurboTax, which I didn't expect. I wonder if that's because it's more wholesome and I like put in way more information, and TurboTax kind of like pulled things from other files, but I'm obviously gonna go with the one that's cheaper and gets me more back. So like it doesn't really matter if the visuals and like the ease is better. At the end of the day, that like $100 that I'm saving in terms of the refund in the return itself and the like the cost of filing is worth it for me to go the other route. In terms of cost, obviously Free File comes in first, and then FreeTaxUSA, and then TurboTax. TurboTax is charging me a lot of money, which is very much their goal, right? Like they want you to go through that process and then have you pay at the end. So that's like kind of irritating. I wish they would give you more of that up front. Like I would be much more inclined to actually use TurboTax if they were like, hey, like here's what you're gonna have to pay, and I knew that coming in, but because I didn't, I'd rather like look for alternatives. Again, if you have an income under $72,000 a year, I would say see if the IRS Free File works for you, because then the cost is even lower. But if that's not feasible, these other apps are both really great. Well, no. If the Free File doesn't work for you, if you make more than $72,000 a year, if you think things are a little more complex and you want that prompting, I would definitely go a different route. Personally, I'm probably gonna file with FreeTaxUSA, which I really appreciated. I've never used them before. I really like that site, and I'm gonna be paying $44.97 for my taxes. The one thing that I don't like about FreeTaxUSA that I do like about TurboTax is better at deducting from your return. To deduct from your federal return would be an extra $19.99 on FreeTaxUSA, so I'm gonna be putting in a credit card. It's not a big deal. Nothing is like huge and like infuriating about it. It's just like, yeah, like I wish that was a little bit easier for me. FreeTaxUSA just like had a lot more things for me to input, which ended up being more time consuming and a little bit more annoying than using TurboTax, which again, like is very user friendly, but at the end of the day, I'd rather not support TurboTax, and I don't want to support companies that are like lobbying for harder tax laws. Like I think that's dumb. Why would you put more money to these companies that are benefiting off of your struggles already? So I appreciate having another source to use. Taxes should be free in general though, but I get why these things aren't, because these are really complex systems. I'm still a big pusher that the government, if they know how much money we should be paying, should just tell us how much money we should be paying, and then we would be done. Like that just seems easier, and like more money gets paid properly. And there's fewer loopholes to like pay less taxes for super rich people, but whatever. Honestly, if I had a year like this again, I would probably just use a tax professional. I think that the two different jobs and all of the states made it so I'm a little wary that I messed up my taxes in like a really serious way. But if I get audited, I'll let you guys know. It'll be a really fun update video story time, I guess. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like and share this video if you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. If not, leave me a rude comment and hopefully I'll reply with something funny. Thanks so much.